what I want to focus on is preparation for death. A Muslim should always be prepared for death. That's a given. You know, our Islam and our religion teaches us from the outset, from the time a child is born, and when we say the azan, La ilaha, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Yesterday I was in the hospital, and one of the sisters, she asked for her child for me to do the azan. And the reason why we do the adhan, according to many ulama, number one, we want the first words for that child to hear in their life is Allah. We want them to hear Allah. We want them in their heart to understand that their whole being should be focused around Allah, their creator. And secondly, the ulama say that you say the adhan and you say the iqamah at the beginning of life. And in reality, that azan and iqamah is for the end of life, because in Salatul Janazah, there is no adhan and iqamah. This adhan and iqamah is your adhan and iqamah for janazah salah. And Islam is trying to tell us that your life, whether it is 1 year, or whether it is 5 years, or whether it is 10 years, or whether it is 30 years, or whether it is 80 years or 90 years, in reality, the life that you spend in this world is similar to the span and the time that a person says the azan and iqamah and then leads the salah. Similarly, your azan and iqamah and your janazah salah, although it seems a long period, even if it's 90 years, it is only a small amount of period compared to the hereafter. And this is a reality that sometimes we forget whilst we are living in this materialistic world, whilst we are surrounded by secularism, whilst we are surrounded by all the worldly attractions and distractions. We sometimes forget the reality that every time in this life, we should be prepared for death. And it should be, death should be between hope and fear. Hope that we will be successful, fear that we might not be successful. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala was a prime example. That Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, when he was on his deathbed and somebody came to him and said that, oh Umar, you know, you've done so much for Islam, etc., etc. And then Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala replied that even if I am not, as long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves me from the fire of hell and enters me into Jannah, that's all I'm worried about. I don't know whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether I'll be successful there. His answer was about hope, and it was about fear. He was fearful of the punishment, and he was hoping for Jannah. And he said that if there is only one person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put into Jannah, I hope that it will be me. And if there is only one person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to put into the fire, I fear that it might be me. That was the level of hope and fear. And that's why one of the important things is preparation of will. The Prophet ﷺ said that a person should not spend 3 nights without having made a will. And today we spend 3 years, 30 years, 60 years, and we haven't made a will. And it should be legally and Islamically valid in this country, or whichever country you are living, whether it's South Africa or Canada or America, whichever country, make it legally and Islamically valid and prepare that will. And prepare advanced directives. You know, what level of support and care do we want if we are incapacitated? Do you want to be on a ventilator? It's not necessary to be on a ventilator. A person may choose not to go on a ventilator, and that's their choice. Islam allows that. And I won't go into the details, but we should be thinking about, if I am not able to make my wishes known at a time when I become extremely ill, what do I want? Can I write these things down? And I think we should be prepared to write these things down much more earlier.